I've already settled it for myself. So flattery and criticism go down the same drain, and I am quite free. That's a poem by Georgia O'Keeffe. Hi everyone, this is Kay Mirage.
And I am Linville Mirage.
And welcome to Beyond the Illusion of Mind. This is our podcast where we discuss all things spiritual, of course, and the mind and yoga. So I do hope that's something you're very interested in. And thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, and welcome again for joining us, guys. Today we wanted to discuss. Go ahead.
Well, continue discussing Guru. That was a topic we discussed last week, which there's so much more to it. So we wanted to make sure we get a part 2 in. And so, Linville, you want to kick it off with?
Sure. So just wanted to make some clarifications in terms of what exactly it is that we do when we observe something, right? We look at something, we look at a person, they're talking. And so I really wanted to nail down the idea that looking at you here now, it's almost completely a psychological process.
Interesting. And but I also wanted to add too, don't think you're too confused. If you haven't had a chance to listen to our episode last week, make sure you go check that out to see, in case you're thinking that you won't be able to relate to this episode. But I think they should be able to relate, right? Or you think they would need to go back to watch the last episode?
I would say definitely take a look at the episode before, so you could really follow what we're leading at, as we may make reference to the discussion from before.
Okay, so if you had another chance if you hadn't listened to last week's episode, or you don't remember last week's episode, please go right now, watch that, listen to that, and then come back to this episode.
Yeah.
Go on.
So when I want to make reference to the idea of the text message group.
Okay.
Right? And
that's when we talked about imagine you're in a group chat and you see a text message come in from somebody you don't like somebody you like.
Yeah.
You immediately start forming a profile of that person.
Correct. Yeah. And even if you don't know the person, you start to form an opinion, and you at least look at their name and look at their
punctuation.
No, not necessarily. You try to get an idea of the gender, and then you assign a voice that match what is that you start. And
I do look at grammar, and I determine if I do. Yeah. I personally look at that.
Yeah. So depending on you'll have a different way of actually forming that profile. Mm-hmm. But even if a stranger walks up to you, immediately you start to form some kind of opinion of them.
Absolutely.
And so what happened is that as you form this profile, then you have certain expectations of that person. You kind of start put them into a kind of a box, right? I want you to understand that this doesn't happen. It's clear for you to see it in the text message. That's why I'm saying look in the text message group, because while you are using the text message, you can clearly see you reading and having an expression, having emotions from that person based on how you characterize that person and your opinion of that person. And even some message, the person might say something back to you, and you interpret it as an angry voice in your head as you're reading it, and then the person says, oh no, I didn't mean that, and then you realize you have to go back to kind of
tone down your
correct
your response.
So let me, in that case, who is the one forming all these emotions? Who is the one forming all these expressions and all that?
Well, I am.
You are the one reading, correct?
Yeah, the reader.
Correct. So it's all fake then?
It's real in my mind.
No, it's fake.
Yeah, it's all made up. I'm
It's a
just,
psychological process.
I'm making this up. Yeah.
I want you to take a look and see that as we're sitting here right now, you're doing the same thing with me. I am here, but still, depending on what I'm saying, you are forming an opinion based on what you think you know of me. Someone might just come on the podcast, they don't like the way I sound, they don't like yoga, whatever the case may be, and then they just automatically transfer that and say they really don't like me. And regardless of what I say, they will have a negative opinion of it.
Correct.
So we do that, but the problem with us is that a large part of our function, our perception function, goes to our eyesight. So as we're looking, it's very difficult for us to process the other things that's happening in the background and seeing that all of this is just my perception of what's happening.
But shouldn't we all? I thought those were instincts, right? I look at someone and I'm of course sizing them up to see, are they coming to me angry, or are they, do they look like an aggressive individual? Should I have my guard up? Does he look like a criminal? Is this person trying to give in, take me for a ride, or are they trying to con me? So I have to have those, I can't just take everyone in as, hey, we're all, all nice people and you're here to treat me fairly.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying see what is there.
But then do what with the information?
No, see what is there. So if when you're reading that text message, let's go back to the text message, because when we go to you looking at me, you kind of drift off. I have
all kind of opinions right now.
Yeah. So in the text message, you clearly see you are the one making these opinions.
Correct.
And they are not necessarily true. The person is not speaking with attitude. The person is not having any emotions. The person is just the person communicating. You have a pre-existing opinion of the person from last year. You didn't forgive the person. So regardless of what the person says now, you still have that profile of them as someone you really don't like.
Yeah.
And that opinion is continuing on. And you will never get along with them.
I think there was this it's like a funny little skit done. I can't remember the guys who did it, but they were friends, and he was texting, like, hey, do you want to go out? And the other person was like, sure, and it's up to you. It was like, okay, and then he was like, oh, do you want to, what do you want to do? And he was, each person was reading, the guy was reading aggressive, meanwhile the guy was just joking. Oh, come on, you guys, yeah, you want to go out right now? Do you want to fight? Yeah, bring it, and but the guy was just joking the whole time, and he brought his weapons and everything ready to fight. And the guy's like, oh, you remember it was my, I wanted to, dress up with, this character, because he brought weapons, and he thought he actually thought it was, a weapon for his, he was like, oh, you're so nice. But the guy came with anger, and because he was reading these text messages and just also forming this opinion. So it does go to show that we can, based on how we're feeling, form this opinion.
Correct.
Now, just for persons who may not remember, bring that back to what you were trying to explain in terms of with the guru and
yeah. So I'm trying to but that's the next step I was going at. I'm saying to you, when you look at me, can you see you have an opinion, and those opinions will dictate how you interpret what I say, or you interpret the things I do.
Yes.
Good. Is this real?
it's not real because it's in my head of
It's
what
your process.
Yes,
It's your psychological process.
correct. I could be right.
You could be right.
Yeah.
But it's your psychological process because you don't know me you don't know what's in my mind.
Correct.
You're making a lot of assumptions.
Correct.
So in that regard, your experience of me through the five senses is not real. It's subjective. And 10 person listening to me will have 10 different opinion and experience of the conversation.
Fair enough. Yes.
Just as a 10 different person reading the text message would read it in a different way.
Correct.
Now, in the same way, you cannot look at the guru and say your experience what's happening there through your eyes and your ears and the five senses. It's not possible. It's not even possible with you knowing me.
And then when we're talking guru, we're talking the physical individual.
Yes, a physical so that's why I'm saying there is no way to see that person and have an understanding that that person is a guru. Because first of all, the guru cannot be a person. Because as we discussed, a person is a psychological profile. It's a psychological process also.
But so I'm looking at this individual, I'm forming my opinions.
Yes.
However, this person made a statement clearly stating, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and it aligns with what I'm looking to achieve. So I attach myself to that guru.
So you use two different words there, person and guru. If you're looking for a
well,
guru,
I turn him into a guru.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. That's the problem.
But if he calls himself a guru, can he do that?
And that's why you'll get tricked. so
The guru mustn't have a name tag.
no. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you are not interested in the person. If you're looking for a guru, you cannot be interested in the person. The person means nothing at all to you. You are there for your growth, your spiritual growth.
Correct.
The person is irrelevant to that. Because remember, the person is
And the person, you mean the persona?
Correct, because that is just a bunch of experiences and memories and whatever other things that has happened in the past.
Okay.
So you are not really interested in the person. You're interested in something beyond that. So when I'm saying, so if you realize that all of this information is just a psychological process, then you sitting with the guru cannot happen in that way. And if you realize that, then as we discussed before, the experience of that as a part of your life is the only way to adapt it. Because if you really are honest with yourself, you will see that you are interpreting this conversation through past experience. There's no other way to interpret it.
Okay. Yes.
And if you're sitting in front of a master, that's the same. You're interpreting it through your past experiences. There's no other way to do it.
Okay.
So if you really and truly want to assess this information accurately, do you want to interpret it with or experience it with 10% of your past experience or all of your past experience?
All of my past experiences.
Yes. But as you are right now, you are already discriminating, as we discussed in the past, with most of your past experiences.
And just to go back to that again, to remind everyone, we were saying that you have to take everything. Correct. You can't take only the good parts or try to bury
to make it a whole life. To
Yeah.
make it a whole life, you have to encompass all of it. But most of us, we only like the good times, right? And as a result, we have pushed aside a very large percentage of what is our life, our experience of time. So we to experience what I'm saying is the guru, is that we have to understand that our experience, the one we're calling the guru, is our life. It is that once you see have an experience of that, it is now a part of our life.
Yeah.
And we can only experience it as a part of our life. Right? So if you really want to experience it fully, then you have to understand that the fuel that is generating this experience is all of your past experience.
Okay, fair enough.
And so you must encompass all of it in order to, right?
So you do have to settle it for yourself. You do have to take the good with the bad. You do have to, and saying, it is my life.
Yes.
And grow from it. You learn from it. And then, because it is with this all these experiences that make you to more, like, for example, if you did go in front of a guru, you're coming with all this experience.
Yeah.
But wouldn't people consider that the baggage?
Well, why would you need a guru if you didn't have baggage? So everyone has baggage. You're there to get them settled, right? You want them, like as Jojo said, you want to have them down the drain. So, but remember, you cannot escape the fact that your past experience is what's generating this current experience. And if you try to push half of them and say you don't like these characters, then you never really grow from them. You want to be able to use them. The other,
I think where we struggle is that growing part. We get stuck. So people said, I don't want to date a girl or a guy with so much baggage, because they're coming with past experiences from they were dumped or whatever.
You're thinking more along the line of thoughts, though. So what I'm talking about is not thoughts, because when you try to make your experiences as an experience of life, there are no thoughts about it. There's not going to be no thoughts. You just want to have all of it there and realize that all of this is your life and encompass it. There's going to be no thoughts about it. You're not going to be reflecting on anything. You're just going to have it there. Just understand that these things are also the foundation of that you are standing on.
Yeah.
I mean, the language you speak,
yeah.
everything. It's a foundation. Imagine if I say to you, I want you to create a walkway, and I'm going to give you all the bricks to make that walkway. And you said, after receiving the bricks, you don't like 90% of the bricks. And you're going to use 10% of them to create the walkway. Will that walkway be a good walkway?
It would probably be a good walkway, but it would be a short walkway. It won't
take you all the way. And you want to go all the way, right?
Correct.
So that's it. If you try to discard half of the material that you have as a foundation, then you might stumble on some of the bricks, because right, you definitely won't be able to run on that walkway.
Yeah.
You might have to walk very slowly. So you want to ensure even if some of them are slightly damaged, even if some of them have some chips, you're going to use all of them, because you don't have extras. This is what you have. You're going to use everything you have, right? Good. You wanted to?
No, I hear you, and I think it's hard for me to reconcile is because I believe we all want to get through life with as unscathed or as with little damage as possible, because and that's why we raise up our child in a way where they don't get hurt that much, they don't face so much obstacles. As parents, we run in front of anything just to make sure that it's smooth sailing for them. So to accept or to it's easy to say, we're just taking the bad with the good. This is my life, and now I'm going to grow from it. I don't know if as a society or as a lot of us are mature enough to do that. So we seek the guru, the physical individual, because we feel like they have it together. They are just a little bit wiser, smarter. So we want to come to them not with all the baggage, with everything, and to lay in front of their feet, but with the best of us, with the best parts, to be able to use that to present to society that, look at me, I'm not too bad. I'm a little shiny, scrubbed up a little bit, but I'm shiny. So I find it tough to not to just say, hey, I accept it all and it's all good. I think I can.
So, so mainly what you're talking about is the person, though. So if this is the way you're going one is going to approach sitting in front of the guru, then they're only going to be interacting with the person. So spiritually, they may be able to guide you, but it's
there'll be some disconnect.
Correct.
And I think, you've watched those movies or, where the guru says you're not ready yet.
Correct.
So it would be like,
yeah.
What? I want to be your student. It's like, you're not ready. What's on, what's off.
So if you really want to be able to absorb all that is there in front of a real master, then you really have nothing to do with the person. Because the person, as I expressed before, it's all a part of your psychological process. This has nothing to do with the one sitting there in front of you. It's your psychological process.
Yeah.
It's not real. Right? So what happens is that when you encompass it, all of your life as a life, and you experience it as that, it then forms something else. Life has a different way of communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you are the life that you feel when you start generating that awareness, it's not only inside of you, it reaches out, it extends outside of you. Right? You can feel your surroundings a little bit differently, and one would hope, if you're sitting in front of a master, his presence or her presence would stand out more, and your life would interact with that life. So you want to be able to interact on a level that is beyond your psychological process.
Okay, so let's
because we know the psychological process cannot experience reality.
Yeah. Okay.
And with that hope, once you develop that, you would be able to experience something more, because at the end of the day, all of this is so you can explore the ultimate source of where everything is coming from. And you cannot do that with the five senses, and you definitely cannot do that with your psychological process.
So how, for me, I always want to have takeaways, right? How do we start with that process? How do we think about taking it all?
I would say, to make it simple, we start meditation.
Okay.
Yeah, do simple meditations. Be able to sit quietly. Be able to feel deeper inside of you. Observe what's happening.
So give me a little example of, if I've never meditated before, if I've never, I can tell you this. I'll sit down, and within 2 seconds of me saying, okay, I'm gonna free my mind, everything what I did last week, what I saw on the news, everything started coming back. I mean, my mind is full. So talk to me about or give me a little tip to make sure that I can start that process.
But that's a start.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Okay.
You're assuming that it's coming back.
What's coming back?
The thoughts. You're making an assumption that they weren't always there.
No, they were always there, but now I can literally focus on them because now I'm quiet. So I feel like the external was always so loud that the minute I sit down, all the things that I should have been thinking about, the phone call last week or the bill I didn't pay or something, start coming back. So some of those things that I put in the background start coming back.
But that's a part of the process.
Okay.
Because what happened is that these noise are constantly inside your head. They really never stop for most people. It's just that you have distracted yourself with the external so much that you really don't pay attention that these noise are inside your head. And the moment, and this is probably sometimes the fear that a lot of people have, they think the moment they start to observe, there's so much things happening inside there, so much emotion, so much activity, and they run away from it.
And I think too, the emotional part as well, now it's almost like I'm forced to see, like somebody put you in front of a book and like, okay, you're forced to read every page, and now you're like, oh my gosh, so many books.
Yeah,
it's overwhelming.
So I mean, you have to understand, like, for example, when I wake up in the mornings and the first thing I observe is that there's a lot of activity in my mind, and I try to quiet it. What happens is that the moment I quiet it and I sit down for a few, like a half an hour or so, I become so energetic, right? If I should lay down and sleep, I become more exhausted. And you have to understand that to generate this amount of thought, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort, right? So a lot of the times you could just be tired thinking.
Guilty. I've noticed that, like, there's so much, and I'm literally exhausted.
Yeah. So, it is important for us to observe what's happening there, of course. And if you're observing things that you weren't observing before, that's progress. That's definitely progress.
So you would say, talk me through what I should be doing to meditate. This is about meditating or quieting the mind. Mm-hmm. I should be quieting the mind. Is that what I should be doing?
Not just observing.
Observing the mind.
Yeah. You don't really want to. You don't want to do anything forcefully because it's not going to work. If you try to like push away thoughts inside your mind, you'll notice that the one that as you push away this thought, then another thought is behind you, and it's telling you how to go about, and because you're so focused on this thought that you're trying to get rid of, you don't even realize that the thought went behind you and is whispering in your ear and saying, oh yeah, let's do that and breathe deeper. And this thought is now in your ear telling you, and it's very difficult to see when it does that. So you don't really want to be going about and be forcefully doing anything. Just see what is there. And I would say it is best to use versus me explaining to you, using like the Sadhguru app, do some of the meditations that are there, because I don't really feel qualified to be guiding. Yeah.
Okay.
So but it's there, it's available. You just walk through, take it easy, observe what's happening, just follow the app, and if you're going to have experiences that you may not like or observe things, but remember, they're always there. And the strange thing about the mind is this: if I ask you to like hold on to that card, right? Just close your eyes, hold on to the card.
Okay.
Feel, and then take your hand back down. Now, I want you to gradually lift your hand, put it back,
Okay.
rest it. Now, I want you to attempt to move your hand. Just before you move your hand, I want you to feel that if there is something happening inside just before. So you're not going to make a movement of your hand. Just visualize yourself moving your hand. Just before any motion happens in your hand, stop.
Okay.
Can you feel there's something?
Yes, like something is going to call it to.
Correct. All right. So close your eyes again. I want you to think that you're going up and touching the card. This time, don't move your hand. Think and feel for that energy. Think that you're going to move and touch the card.
Okay, I feel it still.
Do you feel it still? So I want you to understand what that actually means. It simply means that you are still using the energy required. Your psychological process is directly connected to your body. So when you're dreaming, when you're thinking these things, when you're imagining that you're going to wrestle with this guy because your body is already experiencing this. There's no separating it. You're thinking it, your body is already reacting to it, right? And it is absorbing energy. It is consuming energy. So you don't really want to be having a lot of, you definitely want to be able to see what's happening. If it's something you don't like, then you can do something about it, right? The moment there is something that's happening inside, your mind is just like a child. It's very trainable. It's very trainable. It is there to serve you. It has no other purpose than to serve you.
Yeah.
It's your assistant, your personal assistant. But it has taken over and become the manager.
The master. I'm like, I'm trying to be the master again.
Yeah. So, whatever you think has a direct impact on the body. And we have to just be able to do whatever practices that are available. But the meditations are available. I would say start there and move it up from that.
So just start by observing.
Whatever the meditation, depending on the meditation you like, they will have different recommendations. They may be guided visual meditations or actually observation of something, your breath, something else. So depending on the one you choose, they may have different instructions.
Okay. And I remember our last episode, it was this is something you need to do to live a complete life.
Correct.
Because a lot of us are living half lives, 3/4 lives, and people are just afraid to get into those thoughts. So I would say, although it's scary a little bit or you don't understand it, I think it's very important to at least start observing that, to make sure, observing your thoughts, observing your, what's going on, to make sure that you can get to the point where you're living your full life.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Do you want to say anything else before we wrap it up for this week?
No, I think we discussed.
We covered it.
Yeah, you have any other questions?
No, I'm good. I feel like I have a good grasp of what you're saying, and I will be paying attention more to some of those, I guess, I don't know if it's biases or things that I when I think of individuals or people or just circumstances, I already planned it out, like in my mind the whole time. I've already experienced all kind of stuff before it even happens. Yeah. So, and that's something I know that I need to address.
So let me ask you a question. When you experience these things before they happen, have you ever observed that you could get anxious You could
Absolutely.
get angry.
I feel all the emotions of
Yeah,
it.
but over something that isn't real.
That didn't even start happening yet.
Correct. And what happens in most cases that you're going to go to meet someone and have a discussion about something, right? And you already generate some anxiety or some anger about this meeting because of something that didn't happen, right? When you go to the meeting, just understand you're going there with that emotional attachment, and you're going to react as if that is real.
And expecting it.
And then the person is going to react to that anger.
Accordingly.
Correct. And then you say, you knew? That person, I don't like him.
You know, and I see people
you created that entire scenario.
mess up interviews, right?
Yeah.
I used to be a hiring manager, and I would see people mess up the interview, and I think they started having planning out the whole interview, how it would go from before they made a phone call to say they want to come in for an interview. And I always remember this one person when they sat and they were just, yeah, miss, I know you won't give me the job already. I'm like, we didn't even start. I mean, I'm like, hi, how are you? They're like, I know you won't give me the job. It's okay. You know, I'll try to find something where I fit in. I'm like, take it easy. Turned out that person was perfect for the job. So I know, I fully understand that. And I don't know why we do it. Because I feel like a lot of people don't travel. They don't get the new job. They don't speak up for themselves. They don't take on new responsibilities because of that. Is that fair? Of what is that? And what would we do it? You know, I feel like, I don't know, is it our mind protecting us?
Probably overthinking.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure we're going to explore a lot of that as we go forward and how to prevent stuff like that. But I'm telling you, we could, talk forever, but we will definitely be continuing the conversations as we go forward in our next episodes. So please be on the lookout. Make sure you are joining us next week as we drop another amazing episode discussing a topic as it relates to spirituality, yoga, and of course, the mind.
All right. Thanks again for joining us, guys, and talk to you soon.
All right. So see you next week. Bye.